What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another exciting episode of Green Dreamers. I'm your host, Nate, and today we are going to try and build a deck that literally anyone can play to success. I'm talking about if this is your very first game, if you're a returning veteran with years under your belt, you can pick up this deck and get some wins. Now, this idea came to me from a good buddy of mine, Mark Kramer, who recently played in the Thrones War. Mark was telling me that day two of this event, they had a side tournament for anyone who didn't make the cut day one. And this side event was a driver and car format. And for those of you who don't know what this format is, basically you are building a deck that other people are going to play. And you get more points the more wins your deck gets. So, with this in mind, you're basically trying to build a deck that anyone can pick up and just know how to run it. So I was thinking to myself, what does that deck look like? What deck can just anyone pick up, whether you're a new player or very experienced, and just do well with? Well, today we're going to be talking about what my vision of that deck looks like, and I'd like to hear your thoughts as well. What do you think would be a deck that just anyone could run and do well with? So we're just going to jump right in and build a deck. We got Thrones DB up and running right here. We're just going to come over here to new deck. So my vision of what this deck is that anyone could pick up and do well with is a deck that's very simple. It doesn't have a lot of tricks. The synergy is very obvious, and even a very inexperienced player can know what the deck is trying to do. And so that deck to me is going to be a free folk deck. I think Free Folk is very straightforward. You're just doing challenges, getting claim to mill, and there's not a lot of thought that goes into it. So I think this is a deck that anyone could pick up and do well with and get some wins. So what does a Free Folk deck look like? I picked the Night's Watch faction because the agenda actually doesn't matter what faction you choose, because you can't run anything other than neutral cards in this agenda. And so basically, you're just trying to win challenges with wildling characters and do big claim, military, and then intrigue challenges. That's like kind of the focus of the deck. You only want to include wildling characters. We don't need any Night's Watch characters. But let's look at the plots first. So the first thing that I'm thinking is two claim plots, and they just recently came out with this really good plot for Wildling and Free Folk is Vanquish the Non-Believer. It's a 582 plot. It's got a forced reaction that's really negative unless your deck is built around it, which this deck will be. And even people that don't really know all the combos of the game or know all the synergy, they can just play these characters and like, oh wow, we only have wildlings, so that's the trait I have to pick. It's a plot that's easy to use, so that's going in there. Another good plot is You Win or You Die. This is another heavy claim plot. This gives you cards. The zero reserve is kind of bad, so if you truly are new to the game and you don't know what you're doing, you might play this too early and kind of get hit with that reserve. But if you've got like a solid grasp of the very basic rules, then I think this will be pretty good for you. We're also going to include a big money plot so we can play out our expensive characters. This is just the biggest, simplest boom, gold. You know, you're like, wow, I've got all these expensive cards in my hands. You want a plot that just 10 gold. You can play them out. I'd like to do another two claim plot. The Long Winter has solid gold. It's a winter plot. I don't know that that really matters unless you're playing against like Stark and they have Winterfell. But again, we're not really thinking that complex. We're just basically doing two claim plots. I would like to see retaliation in here. Makes your opponent go first, but you still get two claim. And then this deck isn't going to be running a lot of locations, so political disaster could be pretty good. This might be too like almost complex for newer players. thinking when do I play this, so we might not put that in there. But this deck will not be running too many locations. March to the Wall is good. They get down to one character with all of our heavy claim. That's kind of a good like finisher. And then let's see where we're at for plots. We have 6, so we can have one more plot. How many 2 claim? We got 1, 2, 3, 4 2 claim. I think that's plenty for the 2 claim plots. We might just want another plot that does something. And I would say counting coppers. Like, if you're a newer player and you're like, wow, I don't have any cards in my hand, this is just such an easy plot. Boom, get some gold. All right, we'll move on to characters. Yes, do we have enough gold? We have trading. And then we're probably just going to be wanting to play these 2 claim plots. I think it'll be fine. Alright, so we're only including wildlings in this list so that all the synergy is super easy to see. Like Dala, she's draw, she's wildling. That's easy to understand. These guys are good for doing multiple challenges, which is really important, especially with our low reserve. Like, people will be playing plots like Retaliation and You Win or Die and not even maybe realize that their reserve is so low. But then they have Crow Killers to really capitalize on that. Really easy to use. All right. I want to do 3 mag, and the reason is he gets characters off the board. He's like a claim to all in himself because he forces a kill. Then they have to satisfy claim. And if they're claiming 2 characters from military anyways and then forced with mag, that's just really easy. So Mance is good. I don't know that I want to do like a lot of Mance. We may do 1 Mance. The ambush, I don't think is super important. But Rattle Shirt's really good at getting in some unopposed challenges and pushing through the agenda. So maybe 3 of him. Rattle Shirt's Raiders. These guys get off attachments. Again, you're just giving answers to problems that maybe an inexperienced player might not realize they want, and then they see this like, oh wow, this card gets rid of this annoying attachment, so that's really good. Rogue Wildling is going to be great. We're going to combo him with Val, and he's just good counter to Neil, another problem that, people might have. Val is super easy. She lets you put out characters. We want 3 of her. Let's get just 1 Varamir. He's really good, but I don't know that we need a whole lot, especially because he's 5 cost. We can't use him with Val. And then we just want some cheap characters. We want, the Wildling Scout, the Wildling Bandit. I think we missed Northern Refugee, which we definitely want 3 of that. Yeah, because that's just a cheap character that you can play out. We'll do 2 Wildling Horde. We're probably not ever going to use his effect because it's a faction kneel, but just a big fat body on the board with no attachments can really push through a challenge. And then 1 Egret is probably fine. 34 characters. All right, that's probably good for now. We might come back to that. Attachments are going to be super simple. We're not even going to worry about like doing milks because I don't want newer players to wonder like, oh, who should I put this on? I don't really know. But we're going to do 2 Werewood bows. This is really easy. Boom, it goes on your character and it helps you win a challenge. They don't even have to be, the character with the attachment doesn't even have to be in the challenge. They just have to kneel it to give -2 to a defending character, and that'll help us win challenges with our agenda. Going on to locations, the restricted card for this deck is going to be Flea Bottom. We have a lot of discarding through like You Win or Die, our naturally low reserve plots, and then cards like Wildling Scout you can use multiple times. I think Flea Bottom is just a good choice for our restricted. I don't really know what else we would pick. We're going to do Gates of the Moon because that's just money. Easy money. Ocean Road. And then we're just going to do King's Roads and Rose Roads just to give the player running this deck enough opportunity to play out all the cards they want to play out. I want them to have all the options they need. We're going to do Last of the Giants. This will help mitigate some of the expensive cards, and Intimidate is really good. we are going to do off to Gold Town. This is really good at picking the challenges you want to win. Like if you have Mag the Mighty and you're like, I really need to win an intrigue because I'm already going to win the military. I don't need to win the military with Mag. You can give them any icon you want. Boom. That's really good. And it replaces itself, so I think that's good. And then I would almost say 3 nightmares, but again, I don't want people making the wrong call. We'll just put it in there. I think that's easy enough. I think it's different than Milk because Milk only hits characters, and if they think to themselves, like, man, this location is really holding me back, you got spot control with Nightmares. So how many cards is that? That's 59. Let's put in a character or two more. Remember, we're doing wildlings only. Wildlings only. Sorry, guys. I'm still fighting off a cold. What the hell? I know it seems like I've been sick forever, but that's only because I have been sick for a very long time. Are we missing anyone? Oh, Young Spearwife. We want 3 of her. She's pretty cheap, and then she gets stealth, which can help push through a challenge. So that puts us to 62. That might be on the larger side, but I think 61 and 62 cards are fine for the most part. I've even built decks with 63 cards, and I know some of you will hear that and think I'm crazy, but 62 cards I don't think makes much of a difference, and we want to have a lot of characters. We want to always be drawing characters to keep up the pressure. Alright, so that is what the deck looks like. This is the Free Folk deck I think anyone could play with and play to some success. So we're going to do Free Folk. And then on Friday, I'm going to put out a video where I play this on the Iron Throne. We're going to import it today. If you guys have any suggestions for decks that you think anyone could play, I would love to see it. If you have any thoughts of like decks you want to see me play, leave a comment. I'd love to hear your suggestions. This idea for this week's video came to me from a buddy of mine, Mark. Did I not? I'm terrible. Sorry, guys. Came to me from Mark. So if you have any suggestions, I would love to hear them. I'd love to hear from you guys. Leave a like and a subscription if you haven't already. It means the world to me. I'm so happy to be glad. I'm so glad to be back this year doing Green Dreamers again. And I really appreciate everyone sticking with me. So thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time on Green Dreamers.